Right. Right. Welcome back, everyone. Thanks so much for tuning into another stream. If you guys are new here in the morning, we come in, we take a look at NQ. That is now done inside of our Discord. So www.papertours.io. Let me also share the link. We have 100 free spots available for those that are interested. Chat is not live. How's chat not fucking live? What do you mean? I'm not posting the chat. Whatever. But anyways, in the mornings, that is where we are. Inside our Discord, that's where we're looking at the all right. Sorry. Inside of the Discord, right? This is where we are in the morning. That's where in the mornings, that's when we are reviewing, seeing what the hell is going on during the overnight session, see what price can do going to that New York session. And then at night we come in and we take a look, we see what actually happened, see what price can do going to the next day. So here, let's take a look at what we just kind of had in general, right, during the overnight session, and again the trades that we took this morning, and kind of what we posted this morning inside our Discord. So if you have been following us for a little bit, we've talked multiple times about the 1550 EMA. Here you can see on Monday we came into this fair value gap here above on the hourly, where we haven't seen any rejections yet, but we saw a nice rejection right there, and that gave us that run to the downside. Then inside of here we have an hourly fair value gap, and that turned into an hourly inverse fair value gap. That price tapped right into and gave us that reversal. Yes, we also tapped into this fair value gap, but right up on the open of yesterday's session, we tapped right into it, and then kind of give that continuation to the downside. Or sorry, not yesterday. Was that? Yeah. That was Tuesday night opening up. But there's also a small little 4-hour fair value gap, right? And you could also test this, make it as an order block rejection here. But they gave us that reversal back to the downside, price going below that 1550 and below that weekly open, giving us that continuation into the downside here. I mean, we could potentially outline the manipulation leg here, maybe T standard deviation. Maybe that will give us that weekly manipulation, which does lead us to some of these lows. Not gonna lie. So I guess the big thing that we're watching here is seeing whether or not price is willing to hold below that 1550 MA, and if that is going to give us that continued projection to the downside. Projection to the downside with the hourly manipulation on Monday. But right, and as it started to drop, this kind of going into that New York session, we were looking for probably continuation into it, and we kind of did get that. Over here on the 4-hour, we have this giant fair value gap that we were looking at and saying, okay, well, price can potentially bounce out of it. Or we've seen a bounce out of it before, so we can potentially see a bounce out of it now. You can see where price on this 4-hour at 6 a.m. came down, tapped into it, and we saw that bounce. This going combined the 4-hour. We were looking at the hourly. So at 9 a.m., we haven't quite swept the low over here, but then as we were starting to near the open, we started to sweep the low over here and started to tap deeper into this fair value gap. So as we tapped deeper into it, we said, okay, now that we are sweeping that low, we're looking for price to get through the 50% of this range and give us an outside hour. Exactly what happened here. We swept this low, price began to go above, went above the 50% and targeted that upside hour over here, or that previous hourly high. And then the next candle opens up at 10 a.m. We're sweeping previous hourly high. You can see the bodies are still respecting that previous weekly low, closing below it, giving us that continuation to the downside. On the 4-hour, that also give us almost close to that outside hour, but also retest of this fair value gap right here. Not necessarily fair value gap, just a gap in price over here. Retest that. Continuation to the downside with price closing the bodies below that previous weekly low. And right now, at least on the higher time frame, looking for the same thing, kind of respect of that level, and seeing if they want to come down for that previous daily low and maybe, you know, sweep this liquidity here. This is the September chart. This is the continuous charts. On the 15-minute over here, initially going into that New York session. So we had this 15-minute close at 9:15. Next candle opens up at 9:30. So we are seeing that sweep on the downside. Prices tagging these this liquidity here, that previous 15-minute low. See that rising VIX, or not necessarily on the 15-minute, but on the 5-minute. On the 5-minute, there's some manipulation to the downside. We see that we form a swing failure pivot here as we're closing back within the range here on this 15-minute. And that volume coming in for the trades using the crack indicator. So go check them out if you're not following them yet. Then continuation to the upside. We don't reach this liquidity, and we get that rejection to the downside. 15-minute, similar thing, right? We have the body over here closing back within the range of that previous body candle. Closing price is holding us to the downside here, and we get that reversal continuation back down for that other outside hour. And then on the 5-minute here, this is what we traded here. So initial sweep to the downside here. We could have bought on that rising VIX, which pretty much did. Then price comes back into the OTE range of this candle here. You can see that we're tapping into this candle right there. Of that very first 5-minute candle, we're tapping right into that 618. And out of that 618, we're getting that big run to the upside. Here targeting that 618 right there. Look at that rejection. So rejection on the 1618. Not necessarily any setup for me on the 5-minute for a rejection to the downside, but just looking purely at the price action standpoint, you can see that we tapped into it, got that rejection to the downside, and came down for these other liquidities, and then ended up sweeping this liquidity at 29.5, 80.50 that we have outlined before during our stream, during our morning stream. And initially going into the session open, we swept the previous hourly high, rejected this 5-minute fair value gap, went to the downside here, and right now looking at what price actually wants to do here. We got that first 4-hour. Yeah, now it's the new 4-hour candle. So let's see what they want to do other than that. Well, look, that's all I have. Thank you guys for watching. Thank you for tuning in. As always, I linked the... I put a link below for everybody to put that link below for everybody that is interested in signing up for that free membership. Come hang out, come check us out, see what we are all about. You don't need to make any financial contributions. Just like it, share it, give us a follow on Twitter at the Paper Traders. Give follow to Mr. Hayes at Hayes Beats. And other than that, that's all I have. So thank you guys for watching. Thank you for tuning in. I love you. I appreciate you. Like I said, we're going to keep on. Maybe let's look at some stocks, actually. Fuck it. Let's look at some stocks. Let's see what we had today. I think we were looking at Roblox here above this CISD that can give us potential run back into the upside. But so far, it's kind of limp ticking over here. Monthly candle is also looking iffy. And 3-month is just... looks like it might want new fucking lows here. Unless they decide to reverse it back into here and close above this within this next, day or two. I guess a week and a half is what we have on, realistically, on it. So if they can come back above this CSD within here and close it within that next quarterly body, or within that previous quarterly body, that's what we would be looking for. That's what we want to see there. And see whether price wants to continue back to the upside. DG, similar story over here. We're holding the OTE range on the daily within this right there at 618. Seeing a little bit of a rise, but would need above that 200 EMA for a continuation to the upside. S seeing that consolidation here on that 618. Weekly is looking like it might maybe want to dip out below a little bit. We did sweep that. Actually, no, we have not swept that previous weekly low. But this consolidation within this OTE is what we would want to see. We're sweeping that previous monthly low. Quarterly previous quarterly low has been swept, so this could give us a good quarterly run into something. I feel like this is a good this is a decent setup. Maybe into these little highs over here somewhere. That'd be awesome. But don't quote me on that shit. Nike seeing further decline. Obviously, MOS, same thing. Rivian, Mr. Hayes and I talked about it. Rivian is just like shitting the bed. Maybe Trump will at some point come in and say, well, Tesla, blah, blah, blah. We're going with Rivian, and maybe that will, pump the market to the upside. But as of right now, Rivian's kind of shitting the bed. So not the... Coin, same thing. HUD shitting it a little bit. PG, we got that retrace into the downside here on that previous day, and now seeing the bounce on it. Exactly what I wanted to see on the weekly time frame for a continuation. So let's see what they want to do out here on this thing. What else do we got? What else can we look at? Zoom got fucking annihilated. I mean, at this point, might as well just delete the software and fucking say fuck it. Let's set some alerts on it. These little liquidity sweeps. Zoom is either going to be a very awesome buying opportunity very soon, or it's just going to be a company that no longer exists, which I think nobody would mind, actually. Same thing with Microsoft. Somebody shared the Microsoft chart the other day. Oracle, seeing this OTE here. Actually, Oracle doesn't look too bad within this OTE. Maybe Oracle at like 159. See if they want to do something there. GTLB, if it continues to hold this 705 and gets above the 200 EMA, this can give us a decent potential to the upside here. RCL seeing the bounce on the 200 EMA. LMT, Lockheed Martin, same thing. So daily we did get a little bit of a bounce. Maybe it's just a reaction out of this sweep right there, and a reaction out of the 6786 there. If the weekly closes as a swing failure pivot, that will be decent enough for a continuation to the upside. We already went outside month. However, next quarterly, we're still inside quarter, so next quarterly is what we would really want to watch for because of this little fucking consolidation bullshit, this LRLR. Maybe they even want to bring Lockheed Martin into these 200s, who knows. But if we are expecting a pullback, we would be looking for some good lows on those. Check out the link that is linked to the Discord below this stream if you want to come hang out with us inside our community, see what we're trading, see what we're posting in there. CRM, see, it's like at this point I'd much rather wait for new quarterlies to open up and actually see what the fuck they want to do with price, because that's all going to be next quarterly manipulation is expected, not necessarily during the first month, but at least during some point. And also SpaceX, we'll get to it. Let's look through these. I've looked through most of them today, but just re-looking, seeing maybe if something catches my eye again. AMT, retesting this over here. Let's get some bangers going. What the hell? Come on. Apple looks like it might want to. If we get back below 288 on Apple, we're looking for the OTE of now this range over here. We tapped into that fair value gap there, so this OTE and 200 retest wouldn't be bad, honestly. Would not come down to so do you fuck, man. Hiccups. Let's see, BBV, nice continuation to the upside. Adobe, I think Adobe is finally finding its ground here, but we also said, right, these monthly candles, these 3-month candles, we would need to see some kind of action going into the next month to see some kind of continuation. But likely case is that during summer we're just gonna see consolidation, because I feel like that's when everybody goes on vacation, everybody steps away from the markets. We also have a lot of earnings that come up during those times, like Microsoft, Amazon, I think Apple, those big guys that come in and start, flexing their cocks, for lack of better terms there, for anything. ES, you guys saw that little thing that we're looking at. IBM seeing a nice bounce. So IBM, this is the one that I would look for right now. Previous weekly low sweep. However, that bounce was pretty awesome. And now right on that 705 after those sweeps right there. That was pretty good. Yeah, I got off today. That's decent. $12. That's good. KO. TOS, Lift M, Macy's. SpaceX, I'm gonna go. Which one are we waiting for? We'll look at SpaceX here in a second too, because that one I have my predictions about that one. Not necessarily, they don't have to be right. I can be completely fucking wrong, but at least from the perspective of the market, and given that all of these people have been holding their shares for so fucking long, and finally we got an IPO. People that have been with the company for 10 years have accumulated a great amount of fucking shares. So it's like, yeah, you're likely going to see some profit taken, and I would hope people, take profit on their shit, on their things that they have earned. And that's where I feel like majority of that sell-off is coming from. There's our SPCX. Profit taken, right? It's people coming in, people seeing that, okay, cool, I got this amount of money, now I don't need to have these shares, and people coming in and buying those shares up, right? That's where it's an even exchange. Somebody's buying those shares at that price, somebody's selling those shares at that price. So we're obviously seeing decline as people are selling their shares, and buyers, those avid buyers are trying to get into the market, trying to get into this IPO. Yeah, and even everybody that maybe got in on the IPO is probably taking their profit at like 220. I feel like Tesla, I think no, Tesla would be a bad example for its IPO, because I guess it didn't have that immediate pumper. But I think Tesla, in terms of when was COVID? Like maybe COVID, since they did the stock split, I think that might have been what adjusted the stock price, because Tesla was like at 220 there. I think that's when they did the stocks. No, oh, there it is. There's the stock split. Yeah, split 5-1. So yeah, when Tesla was around here, I think they did that 5-1 split. But when Tesla was around these areas, that was a 220, and then it went to like a fucking 1,000, right? So I think a similar thing can happen with SpaceX, in terms of you're gonna see some people taking their profit. You're gonna see some people, dumping their shares because they are done holding on to them. They've made the satisfactory amount that satisfies them, and a good price, maybe you can start buying it around 120, and then once price does come back into those bigger areas, that's where you can start to sell it off. Some people are even calling for fucking like $20, but maybe, but at the same time, given I think there's definitely potential at 120s for initials, not 160s like everybody loaded on the IPO. Like, yes, we are going to continue on that company. I feel like is going to lead into somewhere, but at the same time, you have to think about all of those people that that have been with the company for so long and are now finally able to just like give up their profit and make some kind of money off of it. Looks like NQ's continuing this dump. If we cannot hold the OTE of this session right there, if we can't hold this OTE, then likely continuation to the downside right there. We have this giant fair value gap over here. We tapped into this fair value gap right there. It gives that rejection to the downside. Cool. Other than that, that's all I have. So thank you guys for watching. Thank you for tuning in. As always, go check out that link below that I've posted for the Paper Traders Discord free membership. Come hang out with us. We're posting everything inside of there in the morning. At night, we are reviewing it on stream here. Other than that, we'll see you on the next one.